Greetings, everybody, and welcome to episode 29 of the Siblings in Cardboard podcast. I'm your host, Thomas, joined by my buddies slash co-hosts, Noah and Donnie. Whether you're a veteran card gamer or a first-timer just testing the waters, we are all siblings in cardboard. Guys, how have things been since we last talked? This is technically a re-record of episode 29. Yeah, full disclosure, we did try to do it, and we had some technical
We were
goofs.
on time. We were on time.
It
Except,
was me
you
this
know,
time.
it was
we tried to figure out a way to scrap it, but there was no audio for the whole hour. So this time there will be audio, I promise. It won't be
we assume.
yeah,
We assume. We'll know after the fact once again.
Yeah. Hopefully we
So
don't
if it's
realize
messed
that
up
after the
again,
fact.
then episode 29 will come out next week after PTLA.
Y'all are just gonna have to learn to lip read Noah.
I'm watching. I'm
Publish it
watching
anyway.
right now.
Yeah, so I don't know if we will cover exactly what we covered, but I know I spent a lot of time discussing draft format, and I could do that again because I went to another draft camp this weekend.
Cool. And aren't the card guys doing a draft camp today, or they did a draft camp today or something
No,
like
we did
that?
a draft camp yesterday.
Oh,
It's actually
I
on
thought I
YouTube
saw
if
something
you
like
wanna
that
go watch
online.
it. Yeah, it's like
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It got posted. It's quite a long video. It's really in depth.
it's like 11 hours, but like we just left it running when we did lunch and dinner. So
that's good stuff.
he's got like a barn that he had like tables set up in. We had a grill and everything.
nice.
Played a lot
So
of cards.
all the banter was still there during lunch and everything.
Yeah, you could hear us.
that might
talking
be
and bantering.
cool to
Who's-
listen to.
Whose house is this?
I actually
Or
really like that
residences?
format. I think it's pretty interesting. I know it would be better if you like maybe were subscribed to the Twitter and you did a Twitter update whenever the next draft was starting, because not everyone wants to be there and listen to the banner. Or
Yeah.
you might say, okay, I'm going to step away, and then you forget to come back and you're like, dang, I missed an entire draft. So I did a draft camp the previous weekend too, and the results from that draft is that all the classes are fairly even. Reinar and Victor are pretty underrepresented. Olympia a little bit, but not as much as the other two. And you've got your more represented, which is going to be KO, Kasai, and Betsy. But Guardian is the least represented, but the win rate across the three classes is pretty close to the same win-loss record across all three classes, and pretty close to the same success record of getting like the 3-0 across all classes. That followed suit this past weekend. And I played my only 3-0 of the 4 drafts was actually on Guardian.
Okay.
And I think in our 4 drafts there was a 4-person of a certain class every single draft.
It's interesting that you say you 3-0'd on Guardian, because I think the last time you did talk about it, you didn't play Guardian, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to play Guardian the previous weekend.
Yeah.
I played Guardian twice. I played a Betsy deck that was quite good. That's why I got a 3-0 on. And I played a Victor deck that I think could have 3-0'd, but played against Nathan Crawford, and he slapped me around a bit on his KO deck. And
I was gonna say that's
He's kind of good.
Okay, well, I had
Victor.
2 tests of strengths. I had a test of vigor and several other clashes, and I clashed 6 times in a game versus a KO, to be fair.
Right.
I lost I lost or tied all 6 clashes.
Yeah, that's
KO.
And
Yeah,
still
it's hard to win a clash
fatigued
against
him. It
KO.
came down to like 2 cards. Still almost got the fatigue. Because
That
it was
is
a Victor fatigue deck. I said, okay, I've got the helmet. I don't have the good shield. But I've got like 22 3 blocks and 4 blocks with the tests. I even had a boast, I think, in that game too.
any down but not
okay, then.
outs.
Yes, I did have down but not out.
I
think
was gonna
so in
say
that deck.
Victor versus KO is borderline almost fatigable. It really just depends on how well they're doing the really tall and wide turns with the might, and if they can get that damage,
it just
through,
matters if
so
you win the
hard.
test of strengths or not. To be honest,
Well, yeah, because then you get the extra card.
You get the extra card to block with or swing with, and
it's so hard to beat them on clashes. Though it's like
no, it wasn't even that. It's like of the 6 times, I only have I think I had 8 misses in the deck, 8 or 9, and of my 6 clashes, 5 of them were total misses.
For total misses, that's
yeah,
unfortunate.
And then the one hit I got a 7-up, and he tied me on 7-up, so I missed it. And all I need to do is win one. The test of strength that I got 7-up was a 7-up on a thunk, so I would have gotten a gold and a vigor.
Might. Or vigor
yeah, Wallop is the might, but I would have gotten a gold and a vigor, which is pretty big because you draw the thunk and then you get to play the thunk, basically. Okay, but I would say that you shouldn't be afraid of drafting any of the 3 classes. They're all great. They're all very viable 3-0.
It just depends on what your seed is.
I won't even necessarily say that, because I told you in the second weekend we had several times that there were 4 players, like there were 4 warriors or 4 brutes. Right. I think one of the pods, the 3-0, was from the 4 players. So a Kasai 3-0'd the pod, even though there were 4 warriors.
Was he the first person drafting it with the packs coming? Was he the furthest one?
It's hard to know exactly. Like, you'd have to follow every person in every draft, and you really can't do that in paper draft so well. All I know is just like, if you play your seat, you don't necessarily get a free win, right? Because we had several people that were one of in the pods and didn't get a free win. When I was a victor, I was the only guardian, and I didn't get a 3-0. There was a only brute one time. Our first pod was 1 brute, and he did not 3-0. I think he went 2-1. I think you'll reliably 2-1 if you're the only person in your pod, but the 3-0 is never guaranteed, and that's just because of how the format is. Like, if you're playing against a warrior, it doesn't matter how good your deck is. If you go down to like 6 or 7 and they draw a handful of A reactions and you honest block an attack, then go, well, I'm just going to come over for 7 and kill you.
Right. Yeah. There's only so much you can do, especially in draft.
Someone drafts this terrible KO deck that like is literally all gas, no breaks. The deck has like maybe 5 3 blocks in it, and they just go, "Whew, I'm gonna hope I draw it," and they just draw it. They're just spitting out 14 damage a turn. You're not going to win. Like, if they consistently throw 14 damage every turn, I think that KO deck wins like every single time. And they can throw more than that sometimes because the claw. Yeah. Wild Ride Claw 6 is 7 plus 13 plus 16 damage turn.
Pretty good.
And that was my my last draft deck of the evening, was a all gas no breaks KO. And I ended up playing it 2-0 into Ed Knight, who also drafted all gas no breaks KO. And when I say all gas, my previous 2 rounds, the game ended on the third turn. And wow, so in this one, the game ended on the 3rd turn. Yeah, in a full draft pod, I think I played 9 turns.
Wow, just no blocks all.
Yeah, we were just all no blocks.
Heavy hitters indeed.
He went to 1, and I had the card that blocks for 3 and zaps 1. If you have the agility, I had the agility token. I'm like, come on, please draw it. And I didn't draw it. And so he had just the tiniest bit of tempo on me. And I drew 2 non-blocks and 2 blocks in the hand. And he threw a pack hunt at me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm dead.
Yeah.
I had 2 blocks because he intimidated one of the 2 blocks out.
2 blocks.
Yeah, he killed me from 6. Because it went up to 7 when he played it because of a might token, and I only had he killed me from 5 or 4. It was something like he was like, I said I'm dead, and he's like, what? And I flipped over, that I only had 1/2 block in hand and 1 block on beat chest on raw meat. I'm like, yep, I'm dead. Yeah,
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
I would say if you draft KO though, the sweet spot for just auto dying seems to be 4 non-blocks. Ideal is 3. 4 is the sweet spot where things are getting spooky. 5, you're probably going to die to drawing 2 non-blocks in a hand. It's like a really dramatic cutoff. Like you just really feel it. And I think if you can get away with having only 2 non-blocks, that's going to be the best possible KO deck. So maybe like 1 or 2 wild rides, and then whatever is not a wild ride is a Bear Fangs.
I can't think of the next opportunity I'm going to have to play Heavy Hitters Limited. I'm not going to LA, and we haven't been playing it at locals. I don't know when my next opportunity is going to be.
Maybe just force it. Say, hey, this week let's do a draft armory, because the draft format's so much fun.
I mean, it is a fun format.
People would definitely be down on Tuesday to do a draft format. I mean, just to shake things up to it.
I don't know about that. I mean, we've consistently had between 10 to 12. Yeah, is that, and we've consistently had 10 to 12 people. So we'd have to go into 2 pods of 6, or hope that we get enough for 2 pods. I don't know. I don't know if we'd actually do that on Tuesdays or not. As far as my week in Flesh and Blood goes, I have made a resolution that I'm going to try to get at least 1 or 2 games of Talishari in every day. I made the decision. I don't like the way Katsu plays right now. I mean, I know he's in a good spot with pouncing links, and he's in a really good position in the metagame as far as that deck goes, but that is too high rolly for my taste. The reason I fell in love with Katsu was because it was consistent. It was punch or stab kick. I don't like the way he's playing right now. So I'm switching. I'm probably going to main Uzuri for a little while and just go with a little bit more even-keeled Uzuri.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's like high rolly, but it's not a style you would really think of, because almost every turn, almost every turn is you either block with 3 cards, and then you do like 4 Kadachi, or you block with 3 cards in Arsenal, or you block with 4 cards. And then when the Katsu finally says no blocks, that's when you go Rutro. And either gets it or he doesn't. Yeah, and there's some problems.
And with my luck, I usually don't. So
yeah, because since you're not doing consistent pressure, like if a Bravo gets on a roll, I think he just, or Guardian period, he just kind of beats you down until you die. Same thing with Assassin
it's not a good
and
feeling.
Ranger. It's good to know other people who don't have disruption, though.
I mean, I understand that other people are having success with it and are doing well and having fun with the deck. It is just not the way I want to play Katsu. And the way I want to play Katsu is not working right now. So
it's because people had to respond to sort of the turtley decks that are coming out, and people forcing and drawing out these longer games and trying to like regain value. I mean, like, take it from somebody who plays one. I got beat up by new Katsu because it doesn't care about blocking, and it can eventually go too wide, where even if I have so much life gain and block, I'll never be able to block that amount of damage out in a turn.
You're not really meant to block it out. It's not. No, it's just impossible. You're meant to not let him value trade you well enough that you lose to his big combo.
You're supposed to keep enough. That's what I'm saying. But if your deck isn't doing enough pressure, you're like, that's when that Katsu deck starts reigning supreme. And I mean, it's had success because I feel like there are a lot of decks that are holding back some of the pressure and trying to extend it out, especially like if you run into like a fatigue victors.
I don't think fatigue is against Guardian is what you worry about too much. It's if the Guardian knows that they can disrupt you and know how to disrupt you. Like when they just take the hits, say, hey, have it. If you don't, you're getting Spinal Crush next turn, and I'm going to Spinal Crush you the turn after that, and then I'm going to choke slam you, and on and on and on.
Yeah, that's basically been my experience, and I don't like it, so I'm gonna do something different.
I think Azuri's cool. Do Azuri.
She's a lot of fun.
Speaking of Azuri, we got to watch Donnie play a really good match of Azuri. To make up a little bit for missing episode, there is some content on our channel where we did a live 5v5 versus the Tavern Brawlers. Unfortunately, we didn't bring home a win. We brought home a 2 versus 3 with 3 to the Tavern Brawlers. I got flattened by Aaron on Dash.
I had a rough one as well. So I didn't. It's not like I did any better.
I feel like I completely stole that game against the Prism player. I sorry, I can't remember the name, but yeah, I played like absolute trash. I was missing triggers. I was taking sketchy lines.
The only really big misplay that I'm just like, no, don't do this, is when you flick knives the spectral shield. I was like,
I know. That was just.
But then you made up for it because you got to flick knives the angel and win. So
yeah, I mean, well, that was fun, but
it's okay. You were thinking with the right.
I knew what I was thinking, but I was thinking that the angel would go on a stack before the spectral shield, but then of course he gets to order the ward triggers however he wants, and I'm like, well, duh. After it's gone, and I'm like, oh, right. And then my surgical extraction is just sitting there looking at this angel like, well, what are we going to do now?
Don't feel bad, Donnie. I literally told myself I can't put Command and Conquer in Arsenal versus Dromai, only to put Command and Conquer in Arsenal. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I would have just intellect penaltyed myself.
I was either going to do that or put the blue overpower, and then all of a sudden I was like, but those bracers look so good.
Also, you should make space in your sideboard for cleave. We could talk about that after you do your thing, but I want to talk about a certain deck that we saw win a certain battle harden.
You're talking about Kiel, and I was looking at it already, and my mind was blown because I saw the hero and I saw the weapons, and I was just like, hold on a minute. I was like, hold on a minute.
It makes sense, but we'll get to that.
Makes sense.
Any other recaps of the past week? I think that about covers it.
Yeah, no, you should go check out the Tavern Brawlers. I mean, there were some decent matchups. I think it was Vincent versus Victor.
Yes.
It was Dromai versus Dory, Hatchet Story. It was then it was your game, correct? Prism versus Uzuri.
No, I was number 4. Was Justin on Kano number 3?
No, you were number
3, Donnie.
You're number 3. I was number 4. It was Leviah versus Dash Internet Extraordinaire. That's where I got 4 itemed and flattened. And then Justin Graham played Kano versus Dash IO and happened into a natty combo.
Oh man, it was
oh, dude, it was so funny.
You gotta go watch it,
the Dash IO taps out, and I'm looking at his hand. He's got Eye of Ophidia and a
Blue Emeritus.
No, he's got Eye of Ophidia and Wildfire in his hand.
Yep.
And I'm like, Noah, are those other, because Noah's doing the observation. And I'm like, Noah, are those other 2 cards blue? Can you zoom in? I'm like, oh my god, they're all 3 blue. I think this game's over.
And then when he flips the top for the Kano trigger, it's a tome, and we're just like, oh, it's like, okay.
He used Eye of Ophidia.
Yeah, he used Eye of Ophidia.
And I'm like, oh man, he kept one on top. Oh, here we go. And he dealt him like, I think he dealt his life total. I think it would probably been like -15 or -20.
Yes,
I mean, the Dash IO was tapped out. She was already at like 28. She'd taken a hit off something, and the only thing she had left was 1 counter on a dissolving shield.
Pretty much begging to be combo.
What a turn to draw all red hand, God, when he has the Eye of Ophidia and the Wildfire in hand.
That's Kano. That's Kano things.
I don't know. I would have maybe like thrown 1 attack and then put the chess piece on the stack and said, okay, let's try to generate some more resources and make them think we don't have it yet. But he went fully heads up, empty hand. Okay.
It was a really fun show match, so we definitely do some more of that in the
oh yeah, we definitely need to do that again.
That was really
I don't know about TTS, but
I didn't actually mind TTS once I got the hang of it. It was actually okay.
It's upside is it slows the game down, so that's people are able to tell what's going on and commentate. It's very hard to commentate on Talishar if people are quick players. The bad thing is it slows the game down because you have to do all the upkeep and everything. So the games are like legitimate length.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you're
even
playing
a
a real
little
game
slower
too.
because if you're not familiar with the controls, then it takes a little bit longer to do things correctly and not screw something up accidentally. That was one of my biggest concerns. Was I know I'm on camera and I have only used the system like for 3 total other games in the past, and those were almost a year ago.
That's okay. People make mistakes. It doesn't end the world.
Yeah.
I think like didn't the prism flip the entire deck over at one point?
Spread the entire deck out.
Yeah, there was that. I mean,
it was good stuff. It's all in good fun. That's why I said.
At least it wasn't me.
At least no one hit the table flip button by accident.
Well, yeah, there's a backspace at least, thankfully. But it, like I said, it helps you remember your triggers too. You have to actively kind of remember. Okay, I got to take my dynamo. I got to take the tunic up. It's not as like training wheels as Talishar.
Yeah, it doesn't hold your hand.
I can understand why they like that type of atmosphere. It felt pretty good, and it was kind of fun to zoom around and stuff too on the obs. It's definitely something we could get better at.
I think there should be something better about displaying the card. It just does giant art that takes up the whole screen.
It's rough. It's either you can't see it at all, or you have to zoom all the way in on the hand, or you just have to blow it up and it takes everything as that one card. It's a little simple. What are you gonna do? It works out.
Take us into our market minute, Noah. What are we seeing right before Pro Tour starts?
No, I mean, I tell you the truth, like nothing's skyrocketed, and granted, I don't think it has time to anymore. Everybody's done. If you want your cards now, you're going in person and buying it from a vendor. So TCG prices only matter for haggling at the vendor counter, which is always haggle a little bit at the vendor counter. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, most of these people are amazing. I've dealt with most of the vendors. Everybody just out there giving out good deals and stuff. It doesn't hurt to ask. You know what I mean? You don't have to you're not there to lowball them, but just ask. TCG low. Remember, they don't have to ship it or anything. They're handing it to you, so you're doing them a favor. Trust me. As somebody who does not want to pay shipping, you're doing me a favor, okay, and them a favor. We're gonna look at a couple of cards, and then some of these will probably be repeats for you guys, not for them. But actually, we're gonna talk about Already Dead.
I like surprised anyway.
Huh? Yeah, okay, please do. Already Dead is an assassin card out of Bright Lights, the expansion slot. It's a contract. It is a 2-cost, 6 attack, 3 block, red. That says you are contracted to banish opponent's non-action cards. Whenever you complete this contract, create a silver token, and it has the text: when this hits a hero, banish the top card of their deck and a defending card. And the reason why I want to talk about this is that we've seen Uzuri actually in a lot of the top 8s. And some of these top 8 images, and Uzuri's just always been around, a very solid deck. It's not going through the roof. It's just it went kind of down to about 25, 24. It started to go, peel down a little bit. That's still a very expensive card, but it actually found itself back up at 31, and trending slightly upwards, and that's for non-foil. So I actually like to see Already Dead high because it makes me feel like Uzuri is still getting looked at, and Uzuri should be getting looked at.
It's just their best popper. Like its effect is fine, right? It could be hit. You can hit it with like the attack reactions and the shreds and stuff, but it's their absolute best popper, other than maybe Death Touch, right? Death Touch is good too.
Death Touch is fantastic, but what I didn't know about Already Dead, and I've been watching a lot of content on it. Shout out to the Plague Hive, who has done some really amazing deck techs lately. If you are not subscribed to his channel and you have any interest in playing Assassin class, go check out the Plague Hive. But I learned that Already Dead actually can target different chain links other than the one that is currently on. You can banish any card from any chain link. So if they banish with Valiant Dynamo on chain link 1 and you Already Dead and it actually manages to connect for whatever reason, you can get that Dynamo. For the longest time, I thought Already Dead could only hit whatever was defending Already Dead. Like you had to have some kind of combat trick on that specific chain link. That's not the case. And that increased the card's stock in my mind. So 31, that doesn't really surprise me.
It works the same way as Decimator Great Axe works, where you cut a card from any previous defending. It's any defending card. And so you have to remember that those who are playing against Uzuri is if you do throw armor early, you better respect that Already Dead, because you won't. If it gets shredded through, they're not going to banish the defending card on Already Dead's chain link. They're going to take that armor piece away.
And as you pointed out, its biggest beneficial application is usually trying to snatch like a Dynamos that they maybe they threw at like a Graveling Growl or something, right? Not Graveling Growl, Ravenous Rabble.
Yeah, you fair block the Rabble on 4 with card plus Dynamo or something. You throw a dead blue, just to preserve life, and then all of a sudden, here comes Already Dead. You just plan on doing a Blade Runner 2 card return, and so you're like, I'll block the Already Dead fair for 6. You got problems if you get shredded.
Well, I mean, they stealth card and swap it in.
Oh yeah.
So you don't know you're getting wrecked by it.
You're blocking 6 usually, okay? If you have, you are.
Yeah, if Dynamo's on the chain, you should probably block 6 if you blocked with it on like a.
And just pray they don't have
6
shred.
block's going to be good enough, but you definitely got to block.
And don't try it with a D-React because you'll get scalpeled every time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Scalpel's going to come in, and you could flick. Thing is, you could flick before that happens too. So the D-Reacts come in.
All right, what's next?
So next we're just going to talk about the one figment that's still really high on Prism's list. It's the only figment, by the way, that carries this price tag. Normal figment, not marmal. You know which figment it is?
No, I want to guess. I want to guess it's protection. Figment of protection.
Oh yeah, it's protection. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's short printed. Maybe everybody just really likes the art. Maybe there's just a ton of players hoarding Figment of Protection to keep the price high. I don't know what it is. It's a $28 Figment, and it's the only one that's up there at that price. The other ones are like 10, 13, 7, 6.
Like Soraya is clearly the best one.
That might be true, but let me tell you what the stocks say. They say Figment of Protection is up there. This isn't the highest. It's actually probably borderline the highest we've seen it be. I just wanted to touch on it because you need one of every Figment to play Prism. And so it is technically a little costing, but remember you only need one. But $28 is, from where it was and from when it came out, is pretty crazy. It's almost 3 times as expensive.
Yeah, like you're spending like almost $200 probably on getting all of your Figments, right? Maybe 150.
A little less. Again, the other one's Rebirth's 10. I think the one of them, the other one's 13.
There's only 8.
And then
right?
both, huh? There's only 8, I think, or 7, something of that sort. I think there's like 7 new ones, and then they have the one from Monarch, right? Like there's
the one from Monarch's not playable.
The other edition, but Archangel of Protection or Figment of Protection is a legendary yellow 4-cost light illusionist instant figment that says you can only have one Figment of Protection in your deck. When this enters the arena, create a Spectral Shield token. You can flip it with Prism's effect that has a once per turn action to attack. When Aegis attacks, you may banish a card from your hero soul. If you do, create 2 Spectral Shield tokens. Ward 4.
Right.
It may also carry a price for the new illusionists as well, if they have some way of using angels, because it is extra ward and ward creation through Spectral Shields. But I don't know.
Again, I don't think so. I don't think we're gonna see, because they would have to be a light illusionist.
That's true. They would have to technically be light and illusionist. Okay.
Yeah, that's
so never mind. It's for some reason Figment of Protection. It got the lucky draw.
That's the only I could think of is maybe we don't know, but maybe it is a little short printed compared to the other ones, or maybe just by chance less of them had been opened. Because like Erudition's the best by far.
Yeah, no,
like
Erudition
it gets a ponder token when it comes in.
Yep.
Which is usually higher value than one Spectral Shield. And then it when it swings, it draws 2 cards, which is definitely higher value than 2 Spectral Shields.
Erudition is the $13 one. Rebirth is the $10 one. I got those mixed up. So, but I mean, 13's okay, but 13's not 28. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. The next card we're gonna move on to is a Katsu card, and we've talked about. It is a blue, 0 cost, 2 attack, 3 defense. It's called Dishonor.
That could be anything. Oh,
yeah, it really could be anything. 3 ninjas. Combo, if Bonds of Ancestry was the last attack this combat chain, this has +2. When this hits a hero, if you control Surging Strike, Descendant Gust Wave, and Bonds of Ancestry, that hero loses all abilities for the rest of the game. Also note, I did ask the question that if you break the chain, like if you go Surging, Descendant, Bonds, and then hold it for a minute, and then throw the Dishonor away at the end, it does still get its effect. It's not checking that was the 3 previous. It's just checking that those 3 at some point were on the chain together in, all named out. And so you got to be careful about thinking, okay, now Dishonor's next, because if it's like a double or triple bonds, Dishonor's not coming till way later, and you better save 5 block for it, not 4.
Yeah, it has to be 5 because
because
of breaking scales.
You got to save 5. Don't do what I did.
It could get worse than that too with Carnivore and so on.
It's bad.
Usually getting Dishonored isn't like your fear anymore in
Katsu. It depends on the hero.
It's a blue 0 for 4. Like that's the primary method that Dishonor comes in and like really does great work. It's a blue 0 for 4.
It's so good. As soon as they block with one, all bets are off the table. Like, I mean, like, you got to be watching for it, because as soon as one's in the graveyard, they're all in hand, technically.
And then it's like every Surging Strike, you're like, do I block the Surging Strike or do they just have it already?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the... Sometimes I'll tell you, you have to let the Surging go through and let them pull the cards out and try and block. You really do.
What you're working with.
As somebody who's tried to block the Surgings out, you'll eventually run into it where they just have it, and you'll feel bad if they're not using the
certain decks. Once you block the Surging, you're not blocking anything else for the rest of the turn. Like, you're just screwed.
Yeah, pretty much.
This other card is definitely a specialization, or a spec card, like a speculation, I should say, not a specialization. It is an Illusionist instant aura. You guys should remember this one. It blue, so pitches for 3, costs 0. It is from Bright Lights. It is the expansion slot, and it is Phantom Tide Maw. It's everybody's favorite useless card.
The card's good. It's not useless. The card is good.
It's good, and it's only going to get better eventually when we figure this out. Whenever an Illusionist card you control is destroyed, put a +1 power counter on this. It has Phantasm, so when it's defended by a non-illusionist attack action card with 6 or more, it destroys it and closes the combat chain, and it also has Ward 1. So definitely speculations on the new hero, the new Ward type build up. Who knows? But it is now a $5 Majestic, and it was borderline useless. In terms
currently,
of
it still is useless.
Well,
I think that's just speculation.
It is definitely speculation, but there's some interesting things about it. One, it is an instant. So if we have a hero that utilizes Ward heavily, this is a blue instant that makes a Ward. I don't know if there will be some awesome punish for creating a Ward at instant speed, but this would do it. And it's got some crazy high roll potential, right? You have a ton of Spectral Shield tokens sitting out, and the ruling was changed where those count as cards for Phantom Tide Maw. So if like 8 Spectral Shields pop at once, and you put this out as an instant as they're popping, this thing becomes an 8 damage, or actually becomes an 11 damage attack with the Illusionist weapon. What are the 2 Illusionist weapons called?
Iris of Reality.
Yeah, Iris is one
Reality
of them.
Refractor.
Yeah. So most likely it would be with the Iris, because that's the one that has Go Again on it. But yeah, actually that's a 4. So that'd be a 3 for 12. Yes, it still has Phantasm, but you could have Dreamweavers equipped, right? To get rid of that first Phantasm. Or you could have Passing Mirage out to get rid of
Iris
Phantasm.
is 3, right? 3 costs, or...
Yeah, 12 Go Again for 3 sounds pretty good.
And we're talking, when we think of using Iris, we think of Illusionist, we're thinking of Yellow Pitch and stuff like that. We have no idea. This newer, we'll get to that different pitch color thing too. This Illusionist could be more reliant on blues, or maybe not care. You know what I mean? This could be a heavier. 3 costs might not be too much. Iris might be the play. This Phantom Tide Maw might be the hottest card. I will buy some. I think I have a bunch that are sitting in a box that I put like when becomes good. I have a when becomes good box with all the Tales of Aria cards and like things that just don't make any sense. Like the one that Dimensional Vortex or whatever that just says banish the card from each arsenal. One day when that becomes good,
that card is still interesting.
Poison the Well, when it finally ruins the game. Thanks a lot.
If Tome of Torment isn't playable yet, then the Spectral Vortex isn't playable.
I'm in a world where they know that there's all these cards, and they're like, man, one day we're going to make these viable. I see it, Fab. I'm on it.
Like, you know what Tome of Torment does, right?
I know I've seen it. I have no idea what it
It's a 0
does.
cost that says you can play this from your banish zone, draw a card. It just doesn't have go again.
Well, but they'll eventually give something that'll say the first card you play from banish has go again, and then all bets are off. And
Yeah, they had that. They basically had that. It was chain.
Yeah.
He hasn't came back yet.
This will be something you have to pay for the
chain
first
will come back
turn
eventually.
We'll figure this out. That's a card away. A go again extra away from being an okay deck. I still think people need to dig a little deeper in the Vincent and keep cards banished for about 3 turns and then explode off some crazy stuff. But that's a different story. I might actually have to play Vincent and figure that out myself.
Are we going back to Monarch this year, or is it going to be 2025?
I don't know, actually, because there's one more set, right? There's supposed to be one more.
Yeah, there's another one. There's a third part of that story.
Yeah,
I mean, we had Monarch and we had Dust Till Dawn. There's going to be a third set, but are we doing that this year, or did they say it's going to be 2025? Because I don't remember.
I don't know. I hope it's this year, though. Then we can maybe get like a 3-set.
I hope it's before KO hits Living Legend. So they can give us Hexagore support or give Levi a new weapon.
Oh, yeah. They're going to have to figure that out. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to lose those claws. All right. Before we get caught up, because I know where this is going. The last 2 weapons I was going to take sole credit for. Now I can't because of the list we're going to talk about. But I'm still going to take semi credit for it. It's mainly because of Olympia. But Hatchet of Body, Hatchet of Mind, I have on the list. They're not both at $40 this time, though. Thanks a lot, whoever started putting them up. There's a couple up there on the Hatchet of Minds for $35. And then they go to lightly, cold foil. These are the promos, mind you. This is not like the regular ones that you get the tokens. These are cold foils, LGS 050 and LGS 049. Hatchet of Body, it reads warrior weapon, one-handed axe, 2 attack, once per turn action, one pit or 1 cost attack. Whenever you attack with Hatchet of Body, if Hatchet of Mind was the last attack this turn, Hatchet of Body gains +1 until the end of the turn. And notice that it says until the end of turn, meaning that once you establish that +1, you keep that +1. It's really prevalent for Dorinthia. If I swing the first axe, it hits, and I swing the second axe, it hits, and I have go again. I don't have to go back to the other one. I can just swing the other one again. It's 3 no matter what. The way it usually works is 2-3-3. 2-3-3 with Dorinthia swinging 3 times. Kasai or any other hero using it would be 2-3. So unless you're upping the ante or blooding on her hands, which is apparently something you can do with Axis.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? And it
Not
makes
me.
so
I don't play warrior
much
like
sense
all right.
because you get.
I guess we could just jump into that now and talk about it. Are you done?
Because I didn't even
it.
think about it. Yes, that's the last one.
Did you watch the match? So what we're referencing is the final match of Battle Hardened Kiel, where this happened in Germany, where the finals was a Dromai versus Kasai, which historically has been cursed. It's like Dromai just eventually runs the Kasai over. They're like putting like Iron Song Pride to put a +1 counter on a saber to try to keep up with the dragons. That's like some of the tech that's been going around. Well, apparently a Kasai showed up to Battle Hardened Kiel on hatchets. And the reason that's weird and significant is that if you read the hero text on Kasai, it says, if you have drawn a card this turn, reduce the cost of your swords by 1. Not your weapon, your swords. So half of your hero text is gone.
Meaning you don't care about dishonor. Well, you kind of do, actually. Hold on.
The gold is still helpful, right, for cash in and stuff.
It's the banishing too that matters too, because the list
you get to get to do the nourishing emptinesses. But yeah, I wouldn't say that. In against the Dromai, you're never throwing a nourishing. That's just not happening. She's got too many D-reacts. She's got enough armor to cover it, and that is a popper that you throw out of your deck for no reason. No, against the Dromai, it's just solid. Axe into the Kyloria for 2. Activate gloves. Axe into the Miragai for 4. Oh, I'm a little bit behind. Cleave. Kill 4 dragons. And that's basically kind of what went down. And you saw like every Spoils of War that came out, Dragon.
Yeah.
Dragon. Dude had like 13 or 14 sense. Copper. And the game looked pretty balanced, maybe a little bit Dromai favored for like the first 9 turns, and there's this giant stack of copper.
You're just waiting.
And then you see the first blood on her hands come out, and it had a spill blood attached to it.
Oh no.
And like, it's just acts for 5, dominate.
Woo.
Acts for 6, dominate. Acts for 6, dominate. Activate gloves. Acts for 7, dominate. Now, the deck has to be built completely differently, because I'm pretty sure the blue count has to be much higher. Because if you think about it, you have to pay for every single axe. You had to play for the spill blood. You had to play for the blood on her hands. That's 6 pitch right there. So you spent 2 cards to do this, and you need 2 blue or 3 yellows to pull off that many swings. Actually, you need more than that, because they also use the gloves on that turn. So they use 7 pitch in a single turn. And any blood on her hands again the next turn. Any blood on her hands again the next turn. And that was the end of the game. So it looks like the whole deck is just like, I know I'm only using half of Kasai's power, but the real part of Kasai that matters are those 3 blood on her hands. Yep. And when you mix it with spill blood, a lot of cards that say this swing or next swing or this swing and next swing, where spill blood just says axes get +2 and dominate this turn.
Yeah, the reason why it's so good, and it just hit me with blood on her hands, is those axes gain a +1 every time you satisfy the condition. And so
no, not every time. It's like it just alternates. It loses it the next time. It doesn't keep going up.
It does. It says until the end of the turn.
Are you sure?
The way it reads on the card, because
I'll check.
Whenever you attack with Hatchet of Mind, if Hatchet of Body was the last attack this turn, Hatchet of Mind gains +1 until the end of turn.
Oh, it does.
Meaning
keep
if
scaling
you
up.
alternate, you continue to get +1s. That's why it's so good with Kasai. Duri can only ever get to 3 swings, 4 if you sold your soul in twinning. But Kasai or Olympia with Up the Ante, when they're swinging these, even Bolton, if Bolton Luminate, you would be able to, if you have to alternate. But that's why they're so insane. There's like, unless I'm reading it wrong.
No, it does say until the end of turn.
It reads as if it stacks. If you can.
Okay, that makes sense. I guess he didn't activate gloves when he swung for 7, so it came in for.
Yeah, he was probably just alternating the attacks, which again, the fact that nobody just sat there and said, "Oh, this is like now I get it. This is broken. Like now I want to play. Yeah, I want to play Kasai."
Can you just like block the spoils?
You can't if you're Dromai.
No, if you're Dromai, yeah. This is definitely great against Dromai. Access to cleave, access.
This
better.
solves one of Kasai's worst matchups, and I don't think you give up anything necessarily by playing the hatchets over the swords. In fact, the hatchets have a better base value.
No, you definitely do.
Don't.
You definitely do. You have to have more blues in your deck.
Okay, yeah, sure, but then you're playing more like a traditional 2-swing warrior, less like a Kasai.
So what do you do when you draw the blood on her hands and you go, I need 2 blues for this to work. So you arsenal it, and then you draw your next hand, and there's not 2 blues in it, and then you draw your next hand, and there's not 2 blues.
Well, you get some more blues. That's what you gotta. You just gotta get those blues in the deck.
Even if you go watch the finals, even at the end, he's like, dude, I was high rolling.
He probably was.
Yeah, he said I just don't know. I was like getting upset because I hadn't seen a single blood on her hands. And then I drew it, and it had all the pitch I needed, and I played it, and I drew another one, and it had all the pitch I needed, and I played it, and then I drew another one, it had all the pitch I needed, and I played it, and he was just like...
I'm looking at it right now, the deck. It only runs 3, 6, 9, 12...
and he played masterfully to manage this Dromai. And by the way, 0 AB. I think the Dromai could have maybe played a different way and said, okay, I just need to keep my life total as high as possible, ping him for 1 arcane every turn, and try to do that for 20-25 turns, and this will wear him down.
This is such an interesting deck. Like, this is a really cool deck. It's semi-defensive, plenty of take it on the chins, oases, steel blade shunt.
Right,
got 1 fate for scene.
It's gonna do some of the same stuff, right? You block with like a card and like a take it on the chin, and then you do a pump and you swing twice, right?
Yeah, pretty much. You got your outland scrimmages. You've got your you're doing really well. Again, I
You know what it can't do?
Cool.
It can't play from behind. You can't go, okay, block my entire hand, play cash in, then play blood on her hands and win. Because you got to keep several cards in hand to do these bigger turns.
Yeah, you definitely can't do that. Then you fall into this weird 2-swing thing, and then depending on what deck you're playing against, Dromai for sure, you're not going to win that way.
He kept the board. The board was clean, like the entire game. Yeah, and
trust me, if I respected the Dromai matchup and gave it any thought, I would have Cleave in the deck.
By the way, you should. If you're running Hatchet Story, there's no reason you shouldn't have Cleave in your deck. It just says plus percentage points by a large margin into Dromai.
I need to figure out if I have 3 Cleaves before I leave for LA.
Dromai's going to be in that room, so not a bad idea.
Let me see. I grabbed an image that had the meta. I thought the meta was pretty interesting.
I just want to dodge the Dromai. Is that possible?
So the meta
no,
Kiel.
No, that's not possible. You will play at least one Dromai in that room, dude. At least one, maybe 2.
So notable, the most 3 represented heroes, big surprise, are all heavy hitters, newcomers, KO, Kasai, and Victor at 8, 8, 7 respectively. Then the next most represented after that was Dash, Inventor Extraordinaire, and Levia at 6.
That feels pretty good too.
The next most represented after that was Dorinthia and Dromai at 5 each. And then after that, it was Katsu, Kano, Bravo, and Azalea at 4 each. Surprisingly, there was a Teklevossen. Only 2 Azuris this time around.
That's weird because
only 3
Azuri just won Battlehardened Philly last week.
Yep. Only 1 Fi.
Fi's gonna find himself in a weird spot right now, in my opinion. I don't think he's bad, but his turns have to be so gross to outvalue these other decks.
Yeah.
And against any of these, like, I don't even want to say turtly decks, but against any of these decks that can, like Victor, can clash and just take extra cards and, like, okay, I'll block you out and then still get disruption in off of a small hand. He's not playing to his strengths. Look at those top 3 heroes, right?
It's funny when you think about Fi and you just think he's too fair.
Yeah, he's actually too fair right now. The way it works, I'm serious. Look at the top 3 heroes. Weird. They're all big value boys, right? And girls.
I just played a match earlier where I beat the Fi, and the only thing I had to do was just flip with only a husk in my banish as Levia. I had no playable cards, just 1 husk. And I won just because I could just block out with 3
Yeah.
I think there was a time I blocked with 3 cards and then swung a claw, and he had to block with 2 cards to not die.
I'm just saying
this. Fi hasn't gotten any weaker since the World Championship. It's
everybody else has gotten.
There's heavy hitters did a number on the ninjas.
Yep.
They really did.
And also, Fi hasn't gotten any real support in a long time.
I mean, tenacity, but I don't think tenacity was enough. Maybe with Mistveil coming out, he'll get something, but it's not going to be draconic. I mean, not with him being this as close as he is to LL, right? He's like, what's the LL board look like right now? It's Dromai and then who?
There's someone right behind her, so like Bravo or something.
I think it's crazy. Someone's sitting up at top.
No, it's Fi. Fi is right behind her. That's right.
And
then Dash is right behind. So Dromai, 796, Fi, and Dash are basically a small event and a large event away from hitting Living Legend.
Yeah, did Dromai pick up any LL points this weekend? Like at a PTI or something?
I don't think so, but she has picked up 148 points this season.
Yeah, if she wins LA, she's as good as gone.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying about Battlehardened Kiel. Let her win so that if she wins LA, she's gone.
We're on. There's some people out there I know that are on Team Scoop to Dromai. Get up there and send her home. That's for that reason, I will not be playing the Cleaves.
Dromai is the second most successful hero in the season so far, only behind KO. So she's on her way out.
You can't sleep.
The only reason KO has more points is because Yuki Lee Bender won that Battle Harden with KO. Otherwise, Dromai has more wins in RTN season.
Yeah. Yeah, that's notable. That RTN season, Dromai cleaned up.
Dromai smothers.
Dromai does prey.
PQ season, she'll probably clean up again.
And Dromai definitely preys on player groups that don't practice into Dromai. Like, you have to have a game plan and you have to adhere to it and be tight to beat Dromai. A lot of times you could win when you think Dromai is like this overpowered deck, but you have to know the game plan and you have to stick to it.
So how many more months do we think Dromai has?
I mean,
PQ season, she'll probably be gone.
I think Dromai
definitely by the end of PQ season, right?
Dromai realistically could be gone
maybe
by
2 months.
Dromai could be done by Nats if she wins LA, and it's not unlikely that she'll win on LA. She's definitely in that.
She's got a good shot.
Yeah, really good shot. There's gonna be great players there playing at a really high level, and just like Dromai has this really high skill cap. So the better a player you are, the better she gets.
Yeah,
and it's also hard to know what you're sitting down across from in Swiss.
Yep,
because
you don't know what list.
Yep, because Redline Dromai and Big Dragon Dromai have two very different approaches.
They all have their different strengths and weaknesses.
And speaking of the Living Legend board, some other heroes that were notably really successful. Bravo and Victor came out with just about the same number of points. So the Guardians are doing really well, and Bravo's starting to creep up there. He's got 684 points, Living Legend now.
Oh.
Huh. Bravo's been a slow sort of...
He definitely looks...
Grind up there, yeah, but he's... Yeah.
He definitely looks slated to be the first Welcome to Wraith hero to leave. That's just crazy to think about, right? Like, of the original 4, and you look at those 4 heroes, and you don't think any of the 4 of them are like underpowered. Maybe you go, all right, Rhinar, not the best. Damage is too fair.
Intimidate's crazy. They have to really watch what they do around that, because you can't interact. We've talked about this. That keyword literally says don't play flesh and blood.
But then you go, I wasn't blocking anyway.
Well, there are some decks, but like there's other decks that are like, well, dang, well, why do I even have cards to block with?
So which one of the WTR heroes is going to be first?
Oh, Bravo.
My money's on Katsu.
Oh,
Mistveil's coming out.
Mistveil's coming out, and Lynx, I think, is going to steal tournaments. It hasn't yet, though. I'm surprised. I'm pretty sure there are some Lynx players like in these tournaments.
We'll have to see PTLA and see the top. I'm actually really interested to see the calling as well. I think Katsu has a really good chance for the calling.
Bravo is such a good counter to Katsu. As long as Bravo's in the format, like, he's going to push Katsu's out of the bracket. He's got the armor. Well, he can set up the disrupt chains.
The Lynx build, yeah. On the momentum build, I felt fine into Bravo most of the time. The Lynx build, I just can't win. I just can't win against Bravo with this build. Again, it's probably just me. I'm just a scrub.
It's a different mindset. It's not. It's asking you to play Katsu differently. You know what I mean? It's asking you to stop thinking of your hands as 5-card hands and start thinking of your graveyard as your hand. You know what I mean?
It's a little bit weird, like Kano almost.
Yeah, you're trying to set that masterful turn up by blocking and putting cards in your graveyard, and then going, yeah, I can do it now.
And then you just throw 4 damage, Kadachi. Throw 4 damage, Kadachi, until you like draw a natty combo to finish off the game.
And you break that Lynx mask, and you go grab that blue bonds, and you go, blue bonds! And it's like, blue bonds. Here it comes. The only time seeing a blue tack on the chain is just like, well, you did it. Because once blue bonds is out, floodgates are open.
Yep, because in a way, breaking Mask the Pouncing Lynx gets the blue bonds, which if you have +1 on the turn for Ancestral Harmony or Art of War, it's coming in for 3. And then your next Gust Wave's coming in for 4, at least. And then that enables your next bonds, which is coming in for like 4. So that Lynx like acted as 7 points of damage on its own. It's so
I know.
We talked about this.
I know the lines and everything. I
hate it. I want that deck. I wish that deck. They just ban Mask the Pouncing Lynx.
Not gonna happen. Not in CC.
All of these like items that are tutor effects that could search things out of your deck that start the game. You start the game with them. Nah, they should go. Kano.
Nah.
Work your way out of the game. Katsu, work your way out of the game. Mask the Pouncing Lynx.
Leave my ninja stuff alone.
No, I don't like tutor effects, right?
Tutoring's tough. Tutoring's a really powerful
tutors
mechanic.
being in the deck, not a big deal. You have to draw them. you have to not, they don't attack usually. But
Mask of the Pouncing, I know what you mean. It's always there.
It's always there
at any time.
And they intentionally printed tenacity to be at 2 so it can get it. Dude, if you've ever seen a tenacity come in for like 10.
Oh, that feels so good.
Yeah, you have like
that feels so
you
good.
have like the natty combo, right? You're just like you're like be like water, gust wave, bonds, gust wave, bonds, gust wave, bonds. You just kind of like have it all anyway, and then at the end you're just like, oh yeah, I had tenacity in Arsenal.
Feels good. It really, Katsu is just so much fun to play, but I just can't win with him right now. But I still think he's going to be the first one from WTR to hit Living Legend. Just because there's other people that are actually doing well with him, and Mistvale is going to give him that additional support. I think it's going to be him.
Right.
I mean, Dory is just not putting up the numbers, and Reinar hasn't done anything yet. So
performance-wise, Katsu and Bravo this season are neck and neck. Bravo got 100 points in heavy season so far. Katsu has 92. 684 versus 572 Living Legend points. So we could see Katsu outrun Bravo. Katsu definitely does more unfair things. Bravo just kind of has, the fridge and can take games longer. Also notable, we had the Age Open, right?
AGE Open, yeah.
Yep. And
your boy got it.
Yeah. Go Ethan. Mr. Mansant took down the Age Open on Levia. His deck is bonkers. It's got like a blue Clash of Agility in it. Though he did say he doesn't like it, but it was something he was testing. It was limit testing, like how good like a blue Clash of Agility could be. It has a ton of one-ofs, and that's something we've been discussing in the League of Levia Discord a lot, is like the value of one-ofs in decks. And I think a lot of people are finding that one-ofs can be extremely powerful.
Yes.
Because you can put these cards in there that are just total bricks if you draw 2 of them at a time, but are just absolute gas when you just use them the turn you get them, or you arsenal them and wait for the turn to come up. One-ofs are pretty strong.
I love to see good deck building like that. The one-ofs I think are great. Like, don't sleep on thinking I want to put 2. I can't put a one-of.
Yeah, like, that's the one-of blue bonds. The card's a total brick when you draw it. You never want more than 2 in your deck.
You gotta get it back.
It is the absolute best card in the deck when you're breaking Mask of the Pouncing Link.
Yeah.
The one-ofs are strong. And then the Levia uses one-ofs because she draws her one-of. She's like, okay, I can't use it. I block with it. And if it's a blood deck card, I'll just flip Consumed and use it then.
Exactly. It always has like a double purpose.
The top 8 for Age was very interesting though. It was a Dromai, a Dorinthia, a Katsu, a Riptide, a Dorinthia, a Levia, an Azalea, and a KO. No repeats.
Noted. It was Charles Dunn on one of those Dorinthias.
Yeah, Charles Dunn was on one of the Dorinthias.
And I want to know if it was. I'm not trying to say
it for sure was some kind of fatigue build. There's no way it wasn't. It's Charles Dunn,
and I thought of that too. And then I saw that he played first round against Levia, and I was like, and he didn't get it, and I was like, that's because Levia's numbers are just so like you can't.
They're big.
They're like fatiguing Levia is
it's actually impossible.
But it's actually it's actually it's like it's almost like a fool's errand.
The only way Levia's going to run out of cards is if she goes, I'm going to 13 and I'm going to make myself run out of cards. That's it.
All right, because you get to play so much from your your banish might as well be your hand in some cases, and the game is going long enough for you to fill that up properly.
Yep.
That's the caveat there, is if you're not pressuring Levia, they have more time to put adequate cards in the banish for a later game state. It's tough. It's a good dichotomy. How the decks speak to each other.
Who did Mansant play in the finals? Who was it in the finals? Did y'all see it?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I know he played a KO.
So
I know he played a KO in his second round. I can't recall which of those 4 players made it to the finals.
But Riptide was up there.
I didn't see it.
Too bad Riptide was up against a bunch of heroes with weapons, so he just loses. But good for Riptide.
Why does that make Riptide lose?
Talked about.
You can't throw the Kodachi. It was a Katsu. You can't throw the Kodachi without going in. And if you do, you're just the Riptide's just like thumbs up, dude.
Katsu literally turns on every trap.
Yeah, that's a little different. That's a little different of a weapon user. Okay. It also depends on how many traps the Riptide.
If I had to guess by just looking at the brackets, the Riptide actually beats the Katsu. The Dromai beats the Dory. The Dromai beats the Riptide because that matchup is bad. And then Mansant beat a Dromai in the end. But I could go look it up really quick.
Yeah, see if you're right.
Yeah, see if you can find it. But a lot of the discourse that I've been seeing on Twitter since I first saw that Manzan had won this, it's kind of a shame that one of the best specialists in the game right now is not going to be able to participate in PTLA because he's going to be busy working. He's going to be bringing the coverage to us, so he's not actually going to be able to sling cardboard himself. That's a little disappointing, but shout out to him for getting this opportunity. It's just, I wonder if he would actually win if he was involved in the tournament.
He's been winning more events when he goes to events, so he's definitely been working his skills up. But man, Ethan, don't quit your new day job, man. What you've done, for the community. It's the net positive of what he's done for the community is so much better. He could be literally the best player in the world. He could be Michael Hamilton, Brody Spurlock mixed together and doubled, and it still wouldn't do more than what he's been doing for the North American community and a little bit for the international community as well, as far as like production goes. And if you look, other people's productions have gone up as well to try to meet the standard that he is setting. He's saying, hey, look at what I'm doing is kind of like a 2 or 3 person group, right? And if I can do that, then when you're hiring a firm that's like a lot of people, they need to hit the standard too. It was Dromai versus Levia for the finals. Okay. So I imagine it happened exactly how I said it. Let's see if I could catch what else the bracket was. Oh, I think it followed Ethan through the whole thing. Because the match I'm looking there. Oh, nope. It was Katsu versus Riptide. And it looks like the Riptide is losing. The Riptide's at 1. Yeah. Okay, I guess Dromai beat a Katsu then.
Huh.
Interesting. Okay, I would actually favor... Personally, I would favor the Riptide in that matchup.
My experience has been the Riptide is slightly favored, just like I said, because Katsu turns on every single trap. But yeah, I mean, sometimes Katsu just does his thing.
Also, Frailty is really good.
Frailty is very good.
And he's got
very good against ninjas.
He's got 9 sources of it. Because they usually run the Frailty arrow, the lace with Frailty, and the Frailty traps. Okay.
It surprises me to see Riptide, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with him going forward.
All right, a few things we're missing because we talked about them last week that we could brush by really quickly. The new classic constructed precons that are coming out in quarter 2 2024. A little pricey at $40, but they are supposed to be these precons that are armory level ready. Take them, you can participate in armory and have a reasonable expectation that you could win if you play at an equal skill level with everyone else.
You're not going to play at an equal skill level to everybody else if you're just starting.
I don't know. Maybe you're traveling and you just show up to a card store and you don't have a deck.
There's some big.
I don't know. But it's going to have new and reprinted content.
It has to have new content.
Yeah. And my hot take last week when we saw these was, I think this is a fantastic opportunity for them to reprint Command and Conquer.
They won't do it.
I still think that's going to be the case.
Stop it.
And we'll say again that they're already reprinting Command and Conquer. It's just going to be like a $3,000 card because there's going to be like 50 of them.
Yeah,
but that doesn't lower the barrier to entry. These decks are designed to bring new players in. CNC is a huge barrier to entry. Putting them into these precons, it just makes good sense to me.
What if it's a Command and Conquer that only blocks 2?
Yeah. It is not CNC. And you're gonna play. You're gonna go pay your
$90 for your extra block.
Command and Conquer. You'll pay your $270 for a playset.
Look, they can expansion slot it. They can create more ambush cards to lower the value and effectiveness of it. They can't reprint it in a
I'm not gonna say they can. I just don't think at
the
$40 price point
can.
You're going to get those because it's kind
no
of
way.
And maybe you do. Maybe they're saying we'll put one Command and Conquer in every single one of these decks that could run it, and that's LSS saying we are locking the price of Command and Conquer to $39.99 forever.
Because that would pretty much be the cost of the.
But they also said tight allocation on these. And the only problem about
sticking
a $40 Command and Conquer into a tightly allocated product is that product's going to disappear, whether they try to regulate it or not.
Scum like me who just buys a bunch of them, I will still hand them out. I promise. Like you do.
You'll take one card out of it and then pass the deck off to a new player. Is that what's happening here?
You get somebody that buys 46 copies around the table because, it just so happened to have Civic Steps and Boulder Drop and Bittering Thorns.
Yeah, it's mainly just Civic Steps and Bittering Thorns.
Those 3 cards. There's a couple others. There's like a Mauling Key too as well.
I'm just saying it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity to get new players and give them a tool that they were going to buy anyway at a reasonable price if they include something like a CNC. They're not going to include legendary equipment. Definitely not going to include legendary equipment. But a Majestic like CNC is completely fair game in my opinion.
Expansion slot in the next set, they can do it.
Well, if they're not going to reprint legendary equipment, what equipment are they going to give to players that make the deck armory ready? If you show up to any armory in the Atlanta area and you don't have good armor equipped, the Atlanta area is tough.
Well, hold on. We're going to let you proxy it. First of all.
Yeah. So you showed
we're
my
not
armory.
going to just tell you, get out of here.
Or you say, I need to borrow a tunic. I'll be like, okay, here's a tunic.
Yeah, like
somebody's got extra copies.
We will figure out how to do this. What I think of when I hear armory level is you have all your staples and stuff. Like I think we're armory. So armory level doesn't mean I have all my equipment. That would be a different level, in my opinion. So and your CNCs. That's what I'm saying. I think you're going to have a very good staple decks and probably some solid Majestics. It's going to be a playable foundation. You will still need to have those pieces. Otherwise, there's no room for you to say, oh, if I just get this, you need to have that sort of like ladder. Otherwise, you're like, if you just get handed it, you know what I mean? Like, there needs to be a little bit of a ladder. I'm not saying you want to spend $8,000 to do it, and I won't let you do that. But it's supposed to draw you in. It's supposed to give you the taste, and then, well, if I only did this, if I only added these couple of cards, now I've got my deck. It's my, like you make it your own. That's what I feel. It's going to be a great foundation, a good starting place. Hopefully they've got some good armor. Who knows? I hope it's
gonna have
good value.
Because isn't a Blitz deck? Aren't the Blitz decks that you buy like $12?
There's going to be CC viable cards in here, just like there was around the table, where something's going to pop out at like $20.
You think if you're only buying 20 more cards, right, to take your deck from 40 to 60, you'd only be coming up to maybe the $20 price point. So something's going to have to be $20 worth of value there.
Is it going to be 60 cards or is it going to be 80?
Or yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
Who knows?
But like, it may not be 80. It may be 60. You have a 60 card playable deck with your
here we go
5 pieces of equipment kind of thing.
This is a good opportunity. You know, you're talking about good
opportunity. Maybe they throw in a copy of the Null Room gear just so you have it.
I was going to say, this is a great opportunity for things like that. Null Rune, and I was going to say Sync Below. Because Sync Below is a hard, like, people's, like, I promise you, it's like $1 a card right now for Sync Below, no matter where you want to get it, from History Pack or, and people have to buy them. Like, nobody's got Welcome to Wrath usually unlimited, just sitting on the shelves ready to go. And then you have to get a red one.
Yeah, and even then, if you open a box of Welcome to Wrath, you might only get 1 or 2 red Sync Below.
Right. That's so I actually think, like, see, this is a good opportunity for that. Like, get your sinks. Like, that is what I would give players. Those tools. The bigger things you're still gonna have to go get. Give them the fates. Give them the sinks. Give them the necessary defensive tools. Give them some of their majestics. You know, that's a good way. The staples.
We're talking about the generic staples.
Yeah, the staples. But you can't give them CNC.
CNC is a generic staple.
Can they give him E-Strike?
You cannot give him CNC. You cannot give him E-Strike either.
What about Art of War?
I don't know about E-Strike.
You can't give him Art of War. People need to have a reason to get the old set still. I promise. Not yet, at least. It can only be expansion slot. They can't do it out of this. Not in a deck like this. If there's a quantity issue, people gobble them up, and then nobody gets the new CNCs anyway.
I'm not going to be surprised if we see some of these decks have maybe like one E-Strike or one Command Conquer or one Art of War.
I'll buy them all out before.
I don't think it'd be a playset. I don't think it'd be a playset of CNCs, but at least one.
You don't even really make any money off of Art of War E-Strike buying them out.
We don't know.
But Command Conquer, you would still maybe come out even after shipping and everything.
Who knows? Again, this is a real speculative. No matter what, make sure you got plenty of decks for people to play. And I actually think it's really good regardless for the game, because CC is what most of the armories play. It's what most of the people want to play. It's the most competitive format. And honestly, if you're trying to get into Flesh and Blood, I'm not saying there aren't casual facets to it, but usually the biggest appeal is how amazing the competitive gameplay is. It really does satisfy that chess sort of back and forth, feel good to like play well. Even losing feels well in some cases when you learn. It's what the game is for. And so being able to buy it into CC and just sit down and play and actually get to feel the whole, effects of the game feels pretty good. So I hope these are good, against all whatever, put whatever cards in it you want. But I hope it gets more people playing the game and starting to explore. It's a good game. It's a hard game, but it's a rewarding game too. And it does feel good to win.
So this time next week, when we publish episode 30, it'll be on the other side of ProTour. ProTour starts in like 3 days. So
dude, I gotta get home from work tomorrow, make sure I'm packed, and I got an early flight out. I'll see you at 1 p.m. at the airport.
I think I land in LA at like 9. I'm gonna have to find something to do for
sleep,
like 7 hours before check in.
Yeah, just go to sleep.
Just grind on Talishar.
Yeah,
easy.
I'll land at 1 o'clock. We'll go get lunch or something.
I will be hanging out in the airport till you get there. I'm not gonna leave. Might as well.
But we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Hopefully, I do well at ProTour. I've practiced a lot.
I'll be cheering you on.
I've got a couple dozen.
I'll be watching for you on camera.
I think about 24 drafts under my belt now. So
I think you're gonna do very well in the draft. I think you're gonna do very well in CC. The only thing
my record was good. I was in the draft camp yesterday. I went 8-4 total out of 4 pods.
Okay.
And I was second place. Ed Knight smashed us. He went 11-1.
Nice.
He 3-0'd 3 of the 4 pods.
The guy is very, very keen. A lot more than I think people give him credit for. And when I look at I can just see it in his soul. That dude is crunching those numbers.
And genuinely nice guy too.
And genuinely. I mean, again, this game has attracted so many of the nicest souls I've ever seen. But he's also a wicked player. Don't let his demeanor fool you. That dude is so good at the game.
Yeah, general shout out to the card guys. Great group of dudes.
Don't let the Alabama boys' country demeanor
disarm
you, because they'll bring it to you.
They're hell.
As Nathan would say, roll tide.
Oh, Lord.
All right.
No, I think you're gonna do well.
And you're gonna do the calling, right, Noah?
Yeah, I'm gonna be playing Hatchet Story in the calling, whether or not it's the same list or I find 3 cleaves to throw in after we get off of this.
And
I probably won't bring any of my cards with me other than my deck, which makes it really easy for me to travel. No, I hate traveling with my binders. If I lost those CNCs, I'd be on a witch hunt.
Yeah, that's fair.
Not that anything's gonna happen, but it's traveling. I don't like doing it. Plus, I'm going from there to another place. It just there's too many different opportunities for something to happen. I would much rather go with 0 and buy a bunch of cards that I already know I'm going to buy. I'm coming. Don't worry. All my vendors. Yeah, there are some pieces. If I don't leave with Brave Forge Bracers Cold Foil, it'll be a disaster. So I got to go see if I can haggle somebody and help me out. Help my wallet lose some money.
Oh no, this wallet is so heavy. Please, somebody help me.
Please help me figure out how to get these Brave Forge Bracers.
All right.
First world problems, man.
So, yeah, I'm a little nervous. I think I'll do fine. Hopefully I'll have Donnie in my corner. I'm gonna see if he's commenting on the YouTube channel. And
I'll be there.
So speaking of that, let's drop our socials and let's get out of here.
All right. Draco Hominis 87 on just about anywhere you want to try to look me up. Except for fabric.gg, where I write several different article series, including a coverage review series, the next one of which is going to be on PTLA, where I expect to write a lot about Thomas and how well he did over the course of the weekend. Other than that, you will probably see me floating around in any of the live stream coverage things that's happening for Flesh and Blood, but it'll be as the Siblings in Cardboard, because I spend a lot of time in that kind of environments. If you see Siblings or anywhere, is probably me.
It's Donnie. Even if he's ranting about weird things, it's just him. Sometimes just a weird lad.
Yeah. If you see somebody on the Siblings in Cardboard podcast ranting about the intolerable flavor of pickles or something, that is probably not me, because I do like pickles. But
that would
most of the time,
me.
Yeah, that'd be Noah.
They destroy everything they touch. I'm at Big Max Fab on Twitter, and we're any day now gonna have Big Max back on Twitch, and it's gonna be a rejoice day. I'm waiting.
I'm with the System Fab on Twitter. You could find me pretty much anywhere on the internet as What the System. So, yep. If you see What the System Discord, that's me. And you could also find us on Twitter collectively as at Sick Crew, SICCREW.
Right.
Anything else, guys?
As well. No. Everybody
I'm good,
out
man.
there going to LA. Have a good time whenever this drops. I'm sure everybody will be there. I can't. Yeah, be safe. Safe travels, everybody, especially international folks coming. I can't wait to see everybody, and just have a great time. Let's all play some Flesh and Blood and just enjoy.
Best
enjoy
of
the
luck,
game.
gentlemen. I'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed catching up with us this week and last week, technically. And if you did, subscribe or follow depending on where you found us to catch us again next time. Until then, take care of yourself, and remember, we are all siblings in cardboard.
Better discard your cards, too. I'm going to be there live watching. Anytime I see a pummel, I'm going to make sure. And James White, I'm coming. I got this map for you to sign. Bye, guys.